Rule number 14. Use a comma to indicate the omission of verb of a sentence or clause. Okay. Use a comma to indicate the omission of verb of a sentence or clause. Example: Salam ate fish and I meat. In this example, Salam ate fish. After fish there is a comma, but it is not according to this rule. And I meat. After I, this is the clause I meat. That means I ate fish. Salam ate fish and I ate meat. Okay. In this example, to indicate the omission of verb, okay, after I, comma is used. She bought a chain and he a set of combs. In this example, she bought a chain and he bought a set of combs. But to omit the verb of second clause, he bought a set of combs. To omit verb bought, after subject he, comma is placed. Okay. Rule number 15. Use a comma between coordinate clauses with different subject and joined by the conjunction and. Use a comma between coordinate clauses with different subject and joined by the conjunction and, or use a comma between coordinate clauses with same subject but joined by the different conjunction without and. Okay, without and joined by different conjunction. Okay, example: his brother is an engineer and his sister is a doctor. This is a coordinate clauses with different subject. His brother is a subject and other clauses subject his sister. So subject is different, and these two clauses are joined by conjunction and. Okay, between coordinate clauses with different subject. In this example, the two subjects are different and conjuncted by and. Okay, so comma is used before conjunction. Example 2: she ate caviar and asparagus and he took only mutton. Okay, in this case, two clauses are joined by conjunction and, but both clauses, subject of both clauses are different. Okay, so before conjunction, that means to separate the clauses. Okay, before conjunction, comma is placed. Example 3: the boy was poor but he was honest. In this example, there are two clauses. The boy was poor but he was honest. He was honest, another clause. These clauses coordinated or conjuncted or joined by conjunction but without and the different conjunction is joined here, and so comma is placed before conjunction. He came here but he could not meet her. In this example also, there are two clauses with same subject but joined with different conjunction without and. Okay, last two example is joined without and with different conjunction but same subject. Okay, rule number 16, use a comma to separate tag question from principal clauses from the rest of the sentence. Example, Masum has done this, hasn't he? They will come, won't they? He is a good boy, isn't he? In this example, comma is placed before tag question to separate from the principal clause. Masum has done this is principal clause. They will come, it is also principal clause. He is a good boy. In this example, he is a good boy is principal clause, and comma is used to separate tag question from principal clause. Okay. Rule number 17. Use a comma to separate multiple classes of 3 or more classes. Use a comma to separate multiple classes of 3 or more classes, but last two classes will be joined by and. Okay. After every clauses, comma is placed, but last two clauses is joined by conjunction and. Example, I know who he is, where he lives, and what he does. In this example, there are 3 clauses. I know who he is, first clause, second clause where he lives, and last clause what he does. Okay, after every clause, comma is placed. Who he is, after this clause, comma is placed, and last two clause where he lives, what he does is joined by conjunction and. Rule number 18. Use a comma after repeating same word. After repeating same word. Note, use comma after the first one. Example, you are quite capable of doing this work. In this example, quite is repeated. Okay, you are quite capable of doing this work. So quite is repeated in this example, and so after first one, you are quite, after this quite, comma is placed. Rule number 19. Use a comma to separate absolute construction from the rest of the sentence. Use a comma to separate absolute construction from the rest of the sentence. Note, use comma if it is at the beginning, but if it is after absolute construction in the middle, use comma on the both side, and if it is at the end of the sentence, use comma before absolute construction. Okay. If absolute construction is at first, then comma, and if absolute construction is in the middle of the sentence, comma on both sides, and if absolute construction is at the end of the sentence, then comma before absolute construction. What is absolute construction? Absolute construction is a grammatical construction standing apart from a normal or usual syntactical relation with other words or sentence elements. It can be non-finite clause that is subordinate in form and modifies an entire sentence. Absolute construction is not particularly common in modern English and is generally more often seen in writing than speech. Example, the dinner being over, we left the place. Masum, I think the best boy in the class. The dinner being over is absolute construction and it is at the beginning of the sentence. So after this absolute construction, comma is placed. Masum, I think the best boy in the class. In this example, I think is absolute construction and it is in the middle of the sentence. So comma is placed on both sides. He earns a lot of money, say 50,000 per month. In this sentence, say is absolute construction and it is in the middle of the sentence. So comma is placed on both sides. Rule number 20. Use a comma after salutation in a friendly letter. After salutation in a friendly letter. Example, dear Masum, my dear friend. Rule number 21. Use a comma after respectable or honorary end of all types of letters. After a respectable or honorary end of all types of letters. Example, faithfully yours. Yours sincerely. Okay, my dear learners, thank you very much for enjoying my class.